look around in here for a minute. Y'all see all these goofy birds that are flying off, these blackbirds? There's one right there to the left of the boat. Those are called common moorhens. Around here we call them coots. Okay, we're in a flood stage right now. Normally we'd be about 4 or 5 foot higher than the rest of the river, sitting on high and dry ground. Okay, these alligators that live out here, basically their main staple is they eat fish and turtles. And they eat smaller alligators, and they'll eat the occasional mammal if they can catch it, or a bird if they can sneak up on it, which ain't too successful at that most of the time. But these coots will get in large numbers, flocks. You can see their heads all over the place. The gators, since this water's came up, the fish have been able to disperse. Fish and turtles are spread out everywhere. Alligators are real lazy when it comes to hunting their dinner. They're always close to a food supply. So they've kind of changed their diet around to these coots because they're just like puddle jumpers. They don't fly very well, and they don't fly really at all unless I scare them off. These gators can stay underwater in this marsh, and when they want a meal, they can kind of follow these birds around as they splatter around here. They can come up and grab them some lunch or dinner, what have you. So they've kind of changed their diet around. That's why I'm looking for these birds. But since the suns went away and the wind started blowing a lot harder, we're going to take a ride and go find a place where I would want to be if I was a cold-blooded reptile, and that's out of the wind and someplace where I could try to gather some heat. But I have been seeing them in here. But the trick with these alligators is when they stay down underwater for whatever reason, they're uncomfortable or it's hunting season, which just did end, they can stay down 3 to 4 hours, possibly longer depending on the individual alligator. So what used to be a confined river system and channels and fingers is now one just giant flooded marsh. Okay, there's thousands of acres out here underwater. There's not any dry land for them to get on right now, so we're just going to cruise through here. Everybody keep their eyes open. If I do see one, I'm going to go past him and turn around and try to approach him slowly. If I go straight towards him in the boat, he's going to go under and he will not come back up because they're still not recovered from hunting season, which ended October 31st. And believe me, during hunting season, there's hundreds of boats everywhere, and they all got one thing on their mind, and that's killing an alligator. Alligators are really smart, like a white-tailed deer or a lot of other animals. If you start pressuring them and trying to harm them, they'll learn to disappear. Start poking around this plant. It's called water cannon. It kind of looks like a banana tree or something. The water gets real high, the gators will tend to come to this because there's no dry land. They can climb climb up in this thick stuff and mat it down and make kind of like a floating pad for them, a floating dock. They can get up out of the water, dry off, and collect some sun when it's out. Plus, it keeps them out of the wind. Alligators can't stand the wind. The wind chill factor kills them. They can't see well, they can't hear well, and smell well. So their senses aren't as keen as they'd like to be. I'd like to run the boat through this stuff, but we also have a water moccasin problem right now. They also have no place to go get high and dry, so they like this stuff as well. Water moccasins are venomous, and they'll bring the fight to you. They won't run from you. They're really aggressive. If the gnats get kind of bad, and some of this I'll get out of it as quick as possible, this is where we're going to more likely find an alligator. It's the only place they have to hide from. There's my needle in a haystack right there.
Oh,
Over here,
I'm
Vic.
missing it.
Right to the left.
Oh, right there.
He's laying right in the grass
Now,
there.
he's about 5 foot long, which means he's about 5 years old. They grow 1 foot per year for the first 6 years. After that, it's anybody's guess. Depends on their diet, their environment, their attitude. They're all different. There's no two the same. Finding alligators out here this time of the year with the weather like it is, and especially add the flood stage to this river, and it's hard to find them. It really is.
What was the biggest gator they brought in?
Oh, well, they come in from all over the state. You know, 12, 13 foot. Out of this area, probably 12 would be about the biggest. The biggest alligator ever recorded in Florida was 19 foot 2 inches. Now, that's not saying that's the largest that's ever been caught, but that one was recorded. And this boat's 24 feet long, from the front to the back of the rudders. That's a large alligator. But see how where he's tucked up by this water cannon, he's got an escape route. He's out of the wind, and he'll take whatever sun he can get. Now you see the bumps on his back look like spines? Those are called scoots. It's a cartilage material. It's like it's a porous cartilage material, I should say. That's how an alligator heats himself and heats his blood up. He'll fill his back with blood and lay up there and attract a bunch of heat like a solar panel. If his blood's hot enough, he'll recirculate it through the system, and that's what helps them digest their food. If they couldn't do that, they wouldn't survive the winters at all. So that's where I've been trying to find my alligators. We have a lot of other drivers that they're just not finding alligators, but I've grown up out here, and I know they don't like to be new. I like to think of it as I like to be out sitting by a pool in this weather. You know, being wet, no, because it's cloudy and it's going to be cold, so I'm going to try to get out of the wind and get in some sun, and that's what they're doing. A lot of the bigger ones are going to be laying up in this stuff, and we just can't get to them. Most of the bigger alligators, the ones that survived hunting season, have probably been pressured a whole lot. So as soon as they see our boat, like a lot of times, I'm up higher than you guys, so I'll see a head off in the distance. But when he hears the boat coming, he's going under. It's hard to sneak up on a smart reptile with an airplane motor strapped to your behind. But certain times of the year when the pressure's off of them from hunting season, they get used to seeing our boats. And it really helps when the water's down, because when it gets chilly like it's fixing to get, they'll all be laying up on the banks. And the larger the alligator, the closer I can let the boat actually drift up, and he'll be right next to the boat and he won't move. Wow. He does not want to get back in the cold water because it takes him too long to heat his body back up. And that's when they can get pretty irritable. It's pretty funny to sometimes when they turn around and hiss and bang into the boat, and I got all of you on this side of the boat. But anyway, I'm glad we were able to find that little guy. But we'll go riding around. Maybe we'll bump into a bigger one. Now, a lot of times they'll be in this thicker vegetation as well, because it kind of supports their body weight, and they can kind of float up on top of the water. Plus, they're hidden from the wind. So a lot of times, like I said, I'll fly right by them, and you guys will see him the same time I see him, but I don't have brakes on this thing, so I have to try to turn around and ease back up to him. down. They could be down for 20 minutes. Depends on how well they're geared up to go in the water. But like I said, I'll drive right by them. I'm just as surprised as they are when we see each other. But there again, he's back up out of the wind, so you got him a little cove cut out right there. So
Yeah.
there's a good chance he may not come back up. I may have just scared him too much.